What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I hope you like this video. This is season 1, episode 3 of KeKe Wyatt's World. I think they should have just said Kiki's World. I don't know. But anyway, KeKe Wyatt's World. Maybe they can copyright, Kiki's comment. I don't know. Unfortunately, we start this episode off with an update on the baby. We found out that the baby had multiple seizures in the last episode, and he has now been diagnosed with epilepsy. They're adding all these different types of medicines to the baby. She had a family meeting. Now, just as a side note, I know this don't have nothing to do with the baby, and I'm not trying to be insensitive, but baby, KeKe Wyatt's hair was fire in this scene. She had like the whole like braid, fiery red down her. It was beautiful. I'm sorry. Then she had on this like muumuu that had like fiery red in it, and it just blended, and it just was beautiful. I know that don't have nothing to do with the baby. But getting back to the baby, later on in the episode, we get more information on what his genetic disorder is. And, she said, look, the doctor was presenting coffins to me because basically they were predicting that my baby wasn't going to live. They said that with the type of disorder he had, sometimes the body parts are not in the proper places. Sometimes the eyes where the ear is supposed to be, or the ears where. So she said, the fact that my baby is thriving, the fact that he has 10 fingers and 10 toes, she said, that's just a testament of what God can do. And, she said, and then we heard from her husband, who, he was saying how basically when he sees the baby, he sees his struggle. He said when he was young, he had chronic asthma, and that he stayed in the hospital, and he had all of these health ailments with him. And so when he sees his son struggling and dealing with the health issues, he said I see myself in him. And so that was definitely a very touching moment to see just the extent of what KeKe is dealing with the baby, but how loving her and her husband are and working through it together as a family. The family said, what can we do? And she said, just keep doing what we've been doing, going to the hospital, visiting the baby, and they said, but are you going to let us help you? And she was like, what do you mean? They were like, you don't let us help. You don't let us help you alleviate your burden. And she was like, well, I'm going to try. And they were like, yeah, okay, no, you're not. So I guess that's like KeKe's biggest issue is allowing people to help her. So then we see Andre meet with her mom, and her mom is talking to Andre about what can we do to help KeKe. She gave him an update on the baby. I feel like she gave him an update on the baby. It wasn't on camera because I feel like she would have given him an update on the baby. But then she said, what can we do to get KeKe out of the house? She said, she doesn't go anywhere. She doesn't do anything. And he said, well, Kissy does have that photo shoot, that video. And, maybe I could take her to the video shoot, get her out the house. She likes, that's kind of stuff she likes to do. But he said, look, we just going, he said, but listen, let me tell you something. He said, I have an issue when people don't want to take accountability. He said, putting everything aside that KeKe's dealing with the baby, this ain't just happened. This ain't new with KeKe. It's okay to just say, you know what, my bad, I'm sorry, I screwed up. He said, and I've been saying for years, KeKe could probably benefit from some therapy. And he said, I really have been saying that for years, and I think I think KeKe needs that. And her mom doesn't necessarily deny it. I didn't hear her mom being proactive in getting it done. But she doesn't deny that KeKe could probably benefit from being able to talk to somebody and work through maybe some of her issues. We see later on in the episode that she holds on to these childhood traumas that sometimes to her detriment. And we'll get to that in a minute. We'll get to that. But he agrees that, whatever you need me to do, how you need me to step in to support, I'm here. I'm here for KeKe, and, I love her. So we see Andre pick KeKe up, and they go to Kissy. Well, no, before we get to that, we see Kissy in the studio with Carlos, with the manager that KeKe don't like. Now, come to find out that basically Carlos was stealing her money. That's what it sounded like. That, and at this point, she wants to work with Carlos, but she said, now I'm woke. She kept saying, I'm woke now. So when he tells me that, you know, I have to pay XYZ amount for this video, I'm going to go behind him and I'm going to call the videographer and I'm going to call the studio and I'm going to call the venue and find out what exactly am I spending, so I'll make sure that, you know, who got time for all of that? And that's what Kiki ends up telling her later on, like, girl, this man betrayed you. And it sounds like he stole your money, okay? And you're an up-and-coming artist. I mean, songwriter, yes. But you're an up-and-coming artist. And there's enough people in this industry that's going to take advantage of you. But when a person shows you who they are, believe them the first time. This person has showed you who he is. He's not the only game in town. He's not the only producer out there making hits. Girl, if you don't... And again, y'all... I might surprise you with how I feel about some things in this episode, but this one, I am Team Kiki. She said that Kissy is her best friend. Listen, Kiki been grinding since she was a kid in this industry. I'm sure she's been taken advantage of more times than she cares to count. So what she's saying is, why would you go into a situation with somebody that you already know you can't trust? If this man's supposed to be your manager, but you got to go behind him and you got to double check everything he does and call behind people to double check prices. I'm not saying don't make sure that the money ain't moneying. Okay, I get that. You should keep an eye on your money. But ain't nobody got time to call behind this man if he say the studio session gonna be $500 and I gotta go behind him and check and make sure that it's really $500. I ain't got the energy for that. Now, again, this industry is full of those people. So for whatever reason, Kissy want to still work with this dude. Now, I don't know what it is, Miss Kissy. I mean, do you like him? You know, is it a personal issue? Not issue, but is it a personal thing? Because why would you voluntarily put yourself in this position with somebody that you already know you cannot trust? And again, yes, is he connected? Sure, he's connected. I'm sure he knows people. All of that. But he ain't the only game in town, especially in Atlanta. Atlanta. Girl, you be tripping over producers and managers in Atlanta. And Kiki Wyatt is your best friend. She can get people on the phone. She can help you out. I'm a little confusion with this. Okay? So we get to the video shoot. And of course, Kiki is like, what he doing here? Who this woman, Harpo? And Kiki is upset by it. So they go through the photo shoot. And she looks cute. And so first of all, the song that she did, she brings a gospel hip-hop artist on. And Kiki was like, so you doing gospel now? She said, no, I'm not doing gospel. She said, but he's hot right now. And, you know, I felt like the song called for it. She was like, and, you know, I mean, I do love gospel. You know, my dad's a preacher. Girl, I ain't even in the industry, and I know that don't make no sense. And what I mean by that is this. If you're going to do gospel, do gospel. If you're going to do hip-hop, do hip-hop. If you're going to do R&B, do R&B. And I'm not saying that you can't be creative and you can't move in different spaces, but you are working on your debut project. What you don't want to do is confuse people. And what I mean by that is this. If I am the type of person that all I do is listen to gospel, or 99.999% of what I do is gospel or listen to is gospel, and I hear your record, you're a new artist, don't really know anything about you, and I hear you got a feature of a well-known hip-hop gospel artist, I'm going to put you in that category in my mind that you do gospel, even if it's, you know, edgy gospel. If that's not the category you want to be in, that's probably not where you need to move in your first project. And Kiki was kind of giving her that look like, girl, what? Like, why would you bring in a gospel artist to do a feature on an R&B song on a debut project? See, that's the kind of shit that your manager should have been like, this ain't a good idea. I don't think it's a good idea now. I mean, maybe somebody will disagree with me, but I know as a consumer, that's what I'm going to feel like I'm getting from you. Neither here nor there. They get done with the shoot or whatever, and Andre, Kissy, and Kiki are outside talking. And so once again, Kiki is talking to her about, why is this your manager? Why is he here? What are you doing? And she said, well, you know, I do have an opportunity to work with another manager, but I know you're not going to like him any better than the manager I already have. And so she was like, well, who is it? And she said the person's name. And Kiki once again goes off. She was like, what are you talking about? She said, I told you about him. That man called me fat when I was 10 years old because I had big breasts and a big booty. And that man traumatized me. And that man did, you know, he said horrible things to me. And so Andre went to say his name, and she was like, don't say his name. And he was like, well, what are you talking about? What do you mean don't say his name? She said, I don't want his name on my show. I don't want to give him any shine. I don't want to give him any boost. Don't say his name. And Andre was like, girl, that was when you were 10 years old. Let it go. Now, Andre, you just got finished saying that you know that KeKe could benefit from going to therapy because she has not properly processed things, right? So this woman is telling you that this is a person who she felt like violated her. It doesn't matter if it was 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. She's telling you that she feels like this person has violated you. You already know that she has not processed these past traumas. The woman said, don't say his name. Just don't say the man's name and let's move on. Unless there's a reason why you were so adamant that this person's name. And KeKe was like, listen, KeKe broke the fourth wall. She called over the producer. She said, listen, this is my show. My name is in the title. And Andre was like, well, no, it is all of our show. She said, no, it's not. It's not all of ours, nothing. She said, I made you an executive producer, which I actually regret now, but I made you an EP, okay? I am the show. It is my name in the title. She said, if I'm not here, there is no show. She not wrong. Like, let's be clear. Andre, Kissy, I mean, y'all are entertaining and all, but it is called the Kiki Wyatt world or Kiki Wyatt's world. It is her show. It's her name in the title. And her thing was, all I'm asking is that you not say this person's name. I don't want this person to get any clout off of me because of what they did to me, because of how they made me feel. I don't want them to get anything off my back. Andre's response is, girl, I don't understand what the problem is. It's not that serious. What's your issue? And he wants to argue with her about the fact that it's her show. Now, I know some people might say it's coming off as egotistical, but it's really not. It is her show. It is absolutely her show. And he is absolutely wrong. If the girls say don't say that person's name, don't say that person's name. Like, it ain't that serious. So this escalated into a whole situation. Like I said, they broke the fourth wall. We got KeKe jumping in the car. We got Kissy trying to talk behind her. We got Andre walking around trying to get... And Andre, you were wrong. Because, listen, again, you've known this woman long enough to know that when she mad, just leave her alone. Let her process. Let her calm down. You kept trying to talk to her. You kept tapping on the window. And eventually, they left, right? He called himself being mad, talking about some KeKe left me here. Sir, it was a whole production crew. You're fine. Just because you rode there with KeKe and she left without you riding back with her, you got home. You will be all right. So then, we see KeKe go to dinner with her husband. He got on his uniform, y'all. He got on his black wife beater, his black do-rag, his black sweatpants, and his slides, okay? He is in uniform, okay? They go to KeKe's favorite restaurant because she was like, I need to calm down. Now, Kissy shows up, and let me tell you what I can respect. KeKe said to Kissy, I need you to tell me, was I on 10 or was Andre on 10? Because I need to know if it was me. And Kissy was like, no, I really wished Andre had shut up. I really wished Andre had shut up too. Because again, do I feel like KeKe's anger went to another level? I do. But I understood her anger. And at some point, somebody got to shut up. And in that situation, I really felt like it needed to be Andre. So they talk about that. And basically, KeKe was like, I don't understand I don't understand this. And so Kissy was like, listen, y'all still got business to handle. Y'all still got things y'all got to do together. So just, y'all will work through it. She said, I hate when y'all are not on the same page. I hate when mom and dad are fighting, So I really want y'all to work this out. And KeKe is like, I don't know if this going to get worked out. Like, I am really, truly in my feelings. I don't know where this goes. I don't know how this gets worked out. So they have a meeting with the exec from the from the record label. And Kiki shows up, with her husband. He in uniform. And I lost my train of thought, child. And Andre shows up. So they have their meeting. It's very professional. Kiki is very professional throughout the majority of it. Like the last few minutes, she get a little shady when the exec, and I feel like this was something the producers asked him to say so Kiki could be shady, but he said something about, Andre, I really appreciate you. You're, a really good manager. I've really had to deal with some, bad managers in the past and blah, blah, blah. Kiki was like, oh, really? Mm-hmm. Oh, bad managers. Oh, okay. And then she says, well, you don't have to worry about this one. This one's, you got to worry about this one. So, fast forward. After the meeting, Andre wants to talk to Kiki. So Andre is like, well, first of all, Kiki was like, don't first of all me. He was like, what you mean? She was like, don't first of all me. She said, I done told you about that. So that tells me they've had the conversation before about him saying first of all. She said, and I'm saying this for a reason. I'm going to get to that in a second. She said, from where I come from in Indiana, when somebody say first of all, that means they want to fight. So please don't start off with first of all, because that's going to automatically put me on defense, because that's how I receive it. He said, okay, fine. He said, thank you. Basically, he was thanking her for being professional. She was like, you ain't got to thank me for that. You don't have to thank me for showing up and being on time and being professional. He said, I know I don't have to, but I want to. She said, okay, well, that's not the only thing I feel like I need to hear from you. He said, well, what else you need to hear from me? She said, I need an apology. He was like, why? What do I need to apologize for? What he say that for? So then that turned into a whole argument again. She was like, so you don't feel like, I asked you to stop and you kept going. You don't feel like you owe me an apology? You don't feel like you need to apologize to me? He was like, I don't need to, what you talking about? So that escalated again. They're arguing again, the escalation. And Kiki says, you know what? She said, Andre, I love you, but fuck you. And she gets up, and her husband, they walk off, because her husband / I don't know, child, they walk off. They go to get in his car, and here come Andre again, chasing behind her. At first, he sits down. So I feel like, again, y'all, I'm sorry. I know I'm not supposed to do it, but I do. He was sitting down eating his pineapple. Then next thing you know, we see him outside chasing Kiki over to the car. So I feel like the producers was like, get out there. Get out there. Because I feel like he was content to sit there and eat his damn pineapple. So he goes out there and he starts arguing or whatever. Kiki is in the car. She won't open the door. She won't roll the window down. The only reason why we can hear her talking is because she still got her mic pack on. And she was like, I'm not rolling down my window. Don't open my door. Leave me alone. She was like, I can't believe this. Like, she said, I'm done with this. She said, as far as I'm concerned, this is over. I'm done. I am done with this. Andre gonna say, now Kiki and I have talked. And she knows that saying F you to me is a no-no. That is a boundary. I have told her that I don't like that. I feel like that is disrespectful to say to me. And she purposely did it. So she purposely crossed that boundary with me. And in my mind, I'm thinking, so Andre, explain to me, what's the difference between her saying F you and y'all have had this conversation and you've told her I know F you is a harsh thing to say. That's not my point. My point is, you want her to respect your boundaries. You want her to respect what you want said and not said to you or at you. Yet, 2 times in this episode, you couldn't respect hers. Now, again, I ain't always saying that Kiki's right, and I'm not always saying that her response is appropriate. But in these 2 situations, I'm Team Kiki. And I like Andre. But Kiki asked you to not say somebody's name, and you want to argue with her about what the big deal is. And then she said, when you said, first of all, the first thing out her mouth was, we've talked about this before. So that tells me that y'all have had this conversation about her not liking you addressing her or coming at her with first of all. And you didn't do it again. But when it came to something you didn't like, now all of a sudden she has crossed the boundary. Am I tripping, y'all? Put it in the comments. Put it in the comments if y'all don't see it the way I see it. But please let me know how y'all feel about that, because in my mind, I make it make sense. Because the math ain't math then. Anyway, that was pretty much the episode. That's where we left off. Y'all let me know what y'all think. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.